This week, coming up from the ashes.
But you went to the rich people's houses and you got even more candy. You dwarfed the amount of candy that I got by mile.
Oh gosh. Well, you know,
I never let him. I never let that die. I always held on to that. I don't know. I'm still plotting my revenge. I don't know when it's coming, but it is.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to From the Ashes podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about some spooky stuff. It's going to kick off our Spooktober and our month of Halloween antics and whatnot. And this is going to be about our Halloween costumes, not just from this year, but from past years, and memorable Halloween years. What was your biggest candy score? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out along this journey. However, joining me today are two awesome individuals, and that would be my co-host, Arson, and the former zombie, now strictly Bones Baron. But I'm still going to call him Zombie. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Nicely done, man. You dragged out the intro perfect amount.
Well, thank you.
You can just call me the corpse formerly known as Zombie.
The corpse formerly known as Zombie.
The skeleton formerly known as Zombie.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, gentlemen, October is upon us, and we are 100% getting all creepier than usual. When it comes
all right.
But we're going to try to dedicate this month to our creepiness, creeping it real, whatever you want to say, but Halloween. You know, unlike some people who already have certain things in stores that's been out for like a month, and I'm not gonna talk about that right now, but just look for a podcast in the future during the month of December that's all about Halloween. So anyways, that being said, so what's going on with you, Arson? How is your Halloween month treating you?
What are you
I'm just messing with you. It's not like I'm trying to jump back and act like we're not recording before October.
September 29th.
No, the illusion has been killed a long time ago. But anyway, so let's talk about the first thing. Like Halloween costumes. Do you guys have any that like stand out to you that you like have worn over the years? Whether it
Oh
be...
my, yes.
Oh, really?
Oh yes.
That right
so
there.
I'm sure
Oh, do what?
So I'm sure you've seen the photos of me dressed like this. If not, I can find one and post it. But it's nothing.
That's going to be the cover art.
Okay, I'll send it. No. You started it. I'll send it to you before. Here, I can't right now because I'm using my phone for internet.
Okay.
But so one year I dressed as Baron Samedi.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Not the Bond villain.
Right.
The Loa voodoo god saint Baron Samedi. And so I didn't tell my roommate I was going to dress as him.
Mm.
And I did face paint. You know, I have the hat, which has skulls and feathers and all manner of stuff. I had a black sport coat, a bow tie, white coat. I had a little cane that I had made that had a little skull. And I spent probably a good 45 minutes getting ready.
I remember you showing me this picture because It ties in with your name change too, because that's when I seen the picture. So it's probably still in our in our talk in our DS or DC, whatever you want, whatever.
But so I come out of my bedroom and I'm fully dressed. I've got my hat on and everything like that. And I stand right behind my roommate who's playing Xbox. Don't say a word. I just kind of stand there and wait for him to. You know when you get that feeling that somebody's standing behind you?
Yes.
And so he kind of turned on. Oh my Lord, I freaked the hell out of him so bad. He jumped so high off that couch. It was hilarious.
That is so funny.
And I've worn that to Gen Con and, Halloween when I work a couple times. And the double takes are hilarious.
That's awesome.
Because you don't see too many people, especially at conventions and stuff like that, who actually go and wear face paint. Full face paint.
What conventions you go to? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's for the podcast After Dark.
Okay, gotcha.
Series.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's the main one that stands out for me. I had one as a kid that I did, and whoever's read Calvin and Hobbes,
Oh yeah,
you'll probably get it. A barrel of toxic waste.
Oh.
I went as a barrel of toxic waste one year for Halloween as a kid.
Wow. Like what's funny is that foreshadowed all the times he's crapped himself.
Yes. Well, barrel of toxic waste, not an underwear full of toxic waste.
Well, it might as well have been a barrel.
Okay, look. I may be up to a normal sized paint can.
That's too much.
That is nowhere near a barrel.
That is so funny. Oh,
like not even a 5-gallon bucket of paint.
Yeah.
Like your normal can of paint.
Right.
Maybe.
That's funny. All right, so Arson, what about you? What is one of your most memorable costumes, or just one that I mean, for you, either way, it's going to be the most memorable.
I've worn some pretty basic stuff.
Same.
Not exactly stand out, at least to me. A ghost, a clown, a ninja. But one that I guess some people never let go was when I dressed up as Super Mario.
Oh my gosh.
What, can you see it?
I want to see it.
I don't know why, but when I dressed up as Super Mario, this was back in elementary, so this was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
So, I didn't have anything else to wear. And my mom was like, well, let's go quickly get you something for, because we were doing a school activity that required a costume, so we could go and get candy from a place.
Right.
So we went and we got this Mario costume, and I was kind of mixed about it. I liked Mario at the time, but I was like, I don't know if I could pull this off.
Yeah.
And so I put it on and I went to school. I think nearly everybody in school noticed it. I don't know why, but I guess Mario was just really popular. He was always popular, but I guess that day especially, he was the thing.
Yeah.
Because even after, because we had to walk to the place where they were giving candy. We had to go from our school to the place where they were giving candy. So we're we're like walking on the sidewalk, going past the streets, and every once in a while, some random person would come by, honk their horn or lower their window and be like, "Hey, Super Mario."
Did any of them go, "Hey, it's Mario"? Ugh.
Maybe, I don't know, man. There were quite a bit of people that like freaking stopped by and said hello. I almost felt like I was actually cosplaying, even though it was like really not that good a costume.
Man, that I would have paid money to see that you in that costume. You know what? I'd pay money now to see you in that costume. I mean, not the same costume, one that like fits your age. But you
And
know.
I wish I wish I still had the hat. The hat was pretty cool.
Oh, really?
It was actually a pretty decently made costume for the time.
Huh.
But yeah, I got my candy on the way back. Still got people calling out to me,
That's awesome.
and then I think after that it was over. Just went back and then went trick or treating and didn't get as many calls because I mean it's kind of nearly nighttime. Could kind of barely see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely one of the memorable. That's a really high moment. I still remember it very fondly.
Hmm. That's like a combination though of like costume and memorable Halloween years.
Happy to
Yeah.
go to man.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, so for me, when I was a kid, I grew up on the creepy looking uh and to be fair, I'm assuming Zombie can attest to most of this. And I know you've seen, I'm sure there's memes on it, and I'm sure you've seen people in the costumes and stuff like that. Like there's this one where this is like early 80s kids all wearing costumes in a class, and they look like it's so terrifying looking because it's like, I don't know, like a Smurf and He-Man and stuff like this, all in these like costumes that look absolutely like horrifying.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
So these costumes were beyond cheap. Like the outfits themselves were made of like a almost like a plastic. And then you had like the plastic masks with the little piece of twine or whatever, like almost like a rubber band behind it, and it had like little slit in the mouth and the eyes,
It
and
would
you took
always cut your tongue.
yeah, exactly. And so I had a lot of those growing up. I wish I still had some of them, but I dressed up as He-Man one year. I think I went as a Spider-Man one time, you know, because I was huge into Spider-Man and He-Man, and stuff like that.
No.
Yeah, so if I could find one of those, man, that'd be hilarious to show you that what I'm thinking of. I know you know what I'm talking about, Zombie. Um, but you know, I had a lot of memorable years with costumes and stuff like that. But one time we I dressed in one of my dad's old suits and like uh kind of it was oversized, you know, it was kind of you know messed up, so I made it look like to where I was like a bum, and I went uh around Halloween that year as a bum. Um and then
Nice.
yeah, right. And then another time I literally had no idea what to do, so we ripped up a bunch of old fabric and we made a costume for me that was a mummy, you know. So we always thought outside the box. But that leads me to this. So a few years ago, I was going out with this girl, and we were trying to think of, you know, Halloween costume ideas because she invited me to her aunt's Halloween party, and it was awesome. They had like the contests for best costume and stuff like that. So um we thought about this for a while, and I was like, you know what? And she pitched this idea to me. I was like, that's a good idea. So, for ones that don't know, I am a redhead. Okay, I have red hair for the most part. Some of my hair on my beard is now white because I'm not as young as I once was. Uh, but
We're old.
we're old. But so uh, she was like, "You should go as the gingerbread man," and I was like,
Nice.
I was like, "A gingerbread man? That's interesting." So literally, I went out searching. Okay. And the best costume ever because it didn't take very much thought. I got a nice big old piece of cardboard with some yarn, and I made a sign, and I put on there ginger bread man, and I had two big old French loaves hanging off each side of it to balance it basically. And so I literally was a bread man that was a redhead, so I was a ginger bread man. It went over so well. Everybody loved it, and I literally won first prize in the costume for a piece of cardboard, string, and 2 loaves of discounted bread because I wasn't paying full price for something I wasn't going to use all of. So I found literally that was my whole thing. But to be fair, I did use some of the bread the next day. So I think I made some garlic bread, but they were like French loaves. But yeah, that right there was by far one of my favorite costumes. Up until we moved to Colorado, I still had the sign. Like it was just so funny. It's just I don't know why I had it. It was just up in my closet. It was a good time though. I had a great time at the party. Her aunt dressed up as a kind of like it was just a nun. Okay, not a slutty nun, not anything else. She just dressed up as a nun. And then we decided, like around, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, 8, 9 or 10 o'clock at night to go walking around Walmart. And so we're walking around with her and they're all calling me father. Like, because those that don't know, I'm a pastor or I'm a licensed minister. Like for real, I did all the schoolwork. I went to seminary, all that jazz. And so I am like fully, a pastor. And they were like, next year we should walk around and I'll be the nun and you could be a priest. And I was like, that would be hilarious. Like just to see that. And then of course the nun was buying like a fifth of whiskey, and other stuff at Walmart, which made it even funnier. But that whole night was amazing. I love that family, and unfortunately, they've had some tragedies in the past couple years or the last year, and it tears me up to no end because I love that family. They call me their that's personal. I'm not going to get into that. They're just let's just say that they were fond of me as much as I was of them. And but yeah, so that was probably the most memorable Halloween costume and probably Halloween year that I can think of. I do have some other Halloween years that I can talk about, but I'll do that here in a little bit. I want to cycle back around and see what Zhombi has to say. So, artist formerly known as Zhombi, tell me about a year, whether it be when you were a kid, when you were just a baby zombie, or a teenage zombie, just growing up and you had a good time.
Growing up in the mean streets of the mausoleum.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
So this is kind of both. It's not particularly a cool costume. It's kind of funny. So one year, my cousins came over who at that point I can't. So I had a couple cousins who lived in Australia.
Yeah.
And they moved to the States. Their mom was born here, moved to Australia, moved back with her kids. So I can't remember if this was after they had moved back or they had just come to visit. I can't remember. but I had like delayed. I was still a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was probably older than 10, but I don't know by how much.
Okay.
And I had delayed thinking about what I wanted to wear as for Halloween. Like to the point that it's Halloween. I'm
Oh
trying to
gosh.
scrounge something together. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do?
I mean, that's how I
And
became a bum. So.
so I went as a witch.
Oh, okay.
Like my mom had a witch costume,
Oh my gosh, I think
like
you've told me about this.
a woman's adult witch costume I
Yes.
wore. Now, um, with like the little spidery hand things, everything. It was so weird. Like I got a picture of it somewhere. Um, and I went trick or treating as as a witch.
That's freaking hilarious. How much what was your score?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh
I
man.
was I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't care about. I didn't really care about how much as it was to getting home and being allowed to start eating it.
Right, right. That's pretty funny. I feel like you've told me that story before. So I'm almost positive you have. That's freaking hilarious. Wow. So all right, Dr. Mario, what about you? What tell me about another memorable Halloween year or costume or whatever, both.
Uh, this one doesn't really involve me, but I guess you could technically call it the best and worst year. 'Cause
Okay.
I still got a lot of candy, but
Yeah.
um, really short. So anyways, I made plans with a friend that we were gonna go and get candy, and he said, "Yeah, no, I can't do it, man. It's just not possible." I'm like, "All right, that's fine." So I
Mm-hmm.
go. Still had a great time. Got a lot of candy. Uh, a couple years later though, while we're just talking about stupid shit, uh, all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, that night, yeah, no, I had to go with my little siblings to go to to these rich people's houses to get like a lot of candy." I was
Mm-hmm.
just I was sitting there putting the pieces together like, "You son of a bitch! I thought you said you weren't gonna go trick or treating." Like, oh wait, did I say that? And not only do you go after I literally just said if you wanted to go, but you went to the rich people's houses and you got even more candy. You dwarfed the amount of candy that I got by mile.
Oh gosh. Well,
I never I never let him. I never let that die. I always held on to that. I don't know. I'm still plotting my revenge. I don't know when it's coming, but it is.
I don't blame you. So I remember, like going to the rich neighborhoods and getting like full candy bars and and stuff like that. Like you get those like not little mini snacks, or they'd be like grab a handful, or stuff like that. Like those were like the moments. Like, yeah, I wish I had bigger hands. They wouldn't tell me that now, although I'm not a child. Um, but that's I can't wait to hear your revenge story on that. That right there is Arson's origin villain story right there. If he becomes a villain, it's because of that moment in his life. Just saying. So I posted a couple of pictures in the podcast text, that the ones I was talking about that like look so creepy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are the costumes I'm talking about. Like there's one that says trick or treating time, wear this plastic smock that will restrict your movements and this mask that will give you poor visibility. and if you could tell, look, there's actually a Garfield one in there on the bottom one.
Yeah, I see that.
I
Very
figured
poorly made.
I figured you'd see that right away. But yeah, those were the costumes in the 80s, like 70s, 80s. And, you know, in those masks, you can't breathe, you can't see, you know, but somehow we were always able to stick our tongue through the mouth hole and cut it up, or yeah, one little cut on that mask. If there was a little slice of that mask, you would get cut up from it. It's like a blade. I swear. but yeah, those were the days. And this story I'll tell you guys now is literally like, well, from that era for me. And it's straight up some of the best Halloweens I ever had. Like, and I'm not talking about 1 year. I'm talking about my childhood for the most part. So I was born in Ohio, in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I can say that because, you know, I don't live there anymore. I don't even live close to there anymore. But, you know, we moved out of Cincinnati when I was like 2.5, almost 3. And but we still had family. Like my grandparents lived out there, aunts and uncles lived out there. And so we would, you know, as most places have, they have different times for trick-or-treating, you know, days. And my little small town that we moved to would have a different date than like big old city of Cincinnati, right? So we would do the smart thing and hit up our small town first. And then, you know, a few days later, or whenever it was the next, we would go to my grandma's house and we would all gather together as a family, like cousins were all together, and we would be dressed up in all of our costumes, basically looking like that classroom I sent you that picture of, you know, and we would go out and hit the city. Like back then though, traveling around the city of Cincinnati, like, was a lot, I don't want to say safer, but it was a different time. You know, people weren't trying to peddle drugs to you all the time, especially kids. You know, we had our parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles with us, so we were safe. But we would run around those streets like they were ours. This is coming from the same little area in Cincinnati, because Cincinnati's a big area. Let's face it, it's split up into different sections. And so I could say Cincinnati is a general rule of thumb, and no one would know what I was talking about. Like, oh, he lived in Cincinnati, I can dox him. I know where he goes. But no, it's too big of a city. But in this one area that my grandparents lived, we would walk down the street to this small store during the summer and stuff like that, and they literally sold penny candy. So we would count out $1. Yeah. We would count out $1 in pennies from my grandma's like coffee can that she would keep for us. And we would go down there and come back with 100 pieces of candy. Like, just like crazy. Like that's, I say that to say, you know, cause, in that time of day, me and my cousins would go around trying to catch garter snakes and all this stuff. It was a different time. It was fun. You know, and so that's the same area as where we would go trick-or-treating. But we would go all over the streets, like not just like a couple blocks. We'd go everywhere. Matter of fact, we would take big pillowcases with us instead of like a trick-or-treat bag. And we would fill up our pillowcase full of candy, because I could care two craps about what I'm carrying my candy, and if it looks cute, all I care about is the score. Oh yeah, you know, the score is what mattered. And so, oh yeah, exactly. So we would hit up, you know, the main area, and then we'd drive down the road and hit up a ritzy area, and we'd have a mixture of like candy corn, a couple, you know, some of them gave real money, like, or quarters or whatnot. They just throw like $1 in quarters in your bag, or you know, or like I was saying before, full size candy bars and whatnot. You know, I'm sure I had some apples in there and other things. The houses, you're like, ew, and then just move on. Do you at least have caramel for this apple in a stick? Come on. but that right there, to me, is some of the most memorable moments is traveling around and doing 2 Halloweens or 3 trick-or-treatings, you know, and we would do this consistently every year, you know, for a while. It kind of gets weird when you're 20 years old and trying to trick-or-treat. I mean, nowadays people do it because they think, you know, whatever, they could do whatever they want. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's when you get up to, like, I would say we did that until I was probably in high school. And then I was pretty much, to me, I was too old for it. But man, we had some good times doing that stuff, like just hanging out with family. And when I was a kid, my family was like some of my best friends, you know?
Oh yeah.
I couldn't wait because I'd spend a month at a time out in Cincinnati, spending it with some of it with my grandma, with different aunts and uncles. I'd be gone all summer, just at different places, you know. And then when my mom and dad would come and pick me up to take me home, I'd be like, oh. And then sometimes you'd be ready, because if you spend too much time around somebody, you know, you're just like, well, ready.
Sometimes you're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
you reminded me of. So I know I've told you a lot about one of the reasons I won't play Talisman with you guys.
Right.
Is because I played it as a kid a whole bunch. So with that same group of cousins, you know, because your cousins are really like your first friends.
Yeah.
So on my dad's side of the family, we'd have get-togethers to plan get-togethers. You know, we'd have a get-together to plan our next get-together.
Yeah.
And there'd be food. There's always food, and there's
Right.
way more than you could want.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, as a kid, that's wonderful.
Right.
You know, and so we would always play Talisman or anything like that. And as we got older, the games would change. They'd get more complicated. So one of them we played, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically a Cthulhu game where you're trying to beat an old elder one.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember exactly. This was right before. This was December 31st, 1999.
Dang.
You know,
Well,
right when there's that whole Y2K.
Are you trying to push Christmas before?
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay. It's related because we're playing this horror themed game, you know, with like Cthulhu and all this other creepy stuff, and we're really getting into it.
Yeah.
And you know, because it's dark outside and the wind is blowing, and we're all just kind of isolated in this corner of this house, just playing this game, just amongst us kids. And you know, like kids do, you know, you get yourself worked up into a tizzy,
mm-hmm.
and we freak ourselves out, you know, because like, well, what if all this Y2K stuff is real, and what if all this happens and changes, and we're like, what if the gravity reverses and we all stuck on the ceiling? Oh my lord, it was just, you know, the sugar infueled mind of a child that's been playing and you know, we were all teenagers, so it's not even like we're kids anymore.
I mean, at 99, I was 3 years out of high school, so
I mean, so 99, I was halfway through my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's just you were talking about, you know, friends and stuff like that. And I was just sitting. Remember, we're sitting on the floor playing this game, just freaking ourselves out. Like, oh my god, what's going to change, man? It's going to be year 2000. What if the world's going to end?
Just because the Mayan calendar ends. Oh no!
Well, that was 12 years later.
Yeah, I know. That was 2012, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was getting an early jump. Yeah, that's kind of funny though. How one little thing will trigger something. But yeah, that's funny. So what else you got for us, Arson? Anything else?
Not really. All I could tell you is that real trick-or-treaters always trick-or-treat with pillowcases.
Right. And did you see the thing I posted? Like, literally, like the last thing I just posted. There's these kids using these like little jack-o'-lantern pails. And I'm like, oh, are you serious? That pales in comparison to a pillowcase. I beat you to it. I had to do it really quick. But that right there is a good excuse of wanting to show off. Right? Like, oh, we gotta have we gotta have something to put our candy in. Ooh, a pillowcase. Ew. Please, we would be out there like plotting our it was like we were going to war. Like, okay, we're going to this house first. How was this house last year? Anybody remember?
Okay.
Like,
how many times did you fill up your pillowcase, go home, dump it out, and go back for more?
To be honest, I don't think I ever did. So like when we would fill up because they'd be different instances, like because we would have to go back and get in a vehicle and go to like the ritzier areas and stuff like that. We couldn't just
Okay.
So basically it would be like starting all over, just a smaller area. And so yeah, I can't say to my thought. Of course, my parents always had to check my candy, always.
Oh yeah.
That's a complete cop out to get free candy, steal our candy.
Had to take an insurance fee.
An insurance fee.
So what I want to know is, so like I had a brother who was about a year older than me.
Yeah.
And after we had the inspection and you paid the dad tax, we would sit there, all our candy spread out on the floor, two big piles, and we'd trade.
Oh yeah.
Like we'd go like, okay, I don't like this, but I want that, and then we'd swap. And then once we're done, there's always a pile in the middle of the nasty crap that none of us wanted.
Yeah, like the Mary Janes and the stuff like that. Of course, Arson. We all know Arson would want all the candy corn. So
That's right.
He loves candy corn.
It is candy corn is a superior candy form.
But that leads me to this, guys. I want to give a little sneak peek at something that we're gonna probably be doing in the near future. But I want to get your guys' insight on some stuff. Can you off the top of your head? I know it's kind of like last second and everything, but could you off the top of your head tell me a couple of your favorite candies of all time growing up, and something that just like disgusts you, like that you just?
I am able to. Yes.
Okay, well then you go first.
Oh no, I didn't know if you wanted. You just said can. Yes, I can. I am able to.
Okay, would you?
Yeah.
All right. Putts.
So, growing up, sugar.
Sugar, just sugar.
Just like like
sugar.
I didn't really I like Smarties.
Hold on. I could just picture a little zombie going up and be like, "You can keep the candy. I just want your sugar." Like,
I've come to raid your pantry.
Just grab.
Give me a cup of sugar.
Borrow a cup of sugar. Holy crap! Okay, sorry. That's yeah.
Did you grow up to like once you couldn't trick or treat anymore, so you started giving out candy, but instead of candy, you just filled up these little packets with just sugar, pure sugar.
I gave him sugar packets.
Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Sugar. Enjoy.
It's less concentrated.
It's the good stuff.
It's the good stuff. Hey,
this is the best it's gonna get, kid.
Mom, this guy gave me a bag of white powder. What is this?
I can take it back if you want.
People pay good money for this. That just triggered a good story for me, but I'll wait until after you guys get done. So what? Okay, tell me a couple of your favorite types of candy and one that you just like disdain, like you just ugh.
Who?
You started
Oh.
it.
Silence.
Awkward silence.
Well, you got to have at least one awkward silence per episode.
True, we do actually most of the times.
So, like I said, as a kid, I can't really recall
Yeah.
Any particular candy that I was like, oh yeah, I love this. Or what? I mean, yeah, you have the little orange and black peanut butter, turd droplets that
Well, that's that's the Mary Jane's.
That even to this day I don't really like. But as an adult, what I like are the sweet tart ropes.
Those are good. Those are so
Those
good.
are amazing.
They're so good. Man. Okay, yeah. I wouldn't even think of that. I'm thinking more because I guess they do have the sweet tart ropes that like individually packaged for Halloween too. I'm pretty sure they do. What about you,
I don't
Arson?
know. Candy?
Yeah, candy, maybe one or two that you absolutely love and one that you just despise.
Well, much like Zhombi here, I am quite the enjoyer of just pure sugar.
Hold on, but we know there's one. I know there's one that you don't like.
We snorted up our noses.
But were you one of those that did that? Seriously? Like the sweet tart?
No, I was not.
Okay,
The
good.
closest I ever
I
got
did
to like
once.
That's what's
Okay,
wrong with
then.
you. No, I'm kidding.
the closest I ever got to like, making candy look like, drugs or like cigars or anything like that was like the Smarties when you
Yeah.
like break the Smarties up and then you inhale the powder and
Right.
blow it out. But no, I've never snorted sugar.
Okay, good.
Hopefully, never will. But anything can change. As for candies that I really like, there's quite a lot. There's the typical ones like Snickers, Twix,
Yeah.
Kit Kats. But if I had to, obviously one of the worst ones for me is pretty obvious already. It's
Yeah.
candy corn.
Candy corn, yeah.
I really hate it. I don't like the texture of it. Another one I don't really like would probably be those. I forgot what they were. I think they were like dark chocolate. It was something like that.
Oh gosh, I can't stand anything dark chocolate.
I don't hate dark chocolate, but it was I forgot what the name. It was that specific dark chocolate that I just hated. It was terrible.
Kind of like on an Andes mint or something like that. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
saying that that's going to be served at Halloween because Andes mints and Halloween are not synonymous with each other. So,
and of course, the worst kind of all, when they give you an apple or an orange.
right.
Who the fuck asked for this? I have these at home,
I got a toothbrush once.
I did as well.
Oh, have you?
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what message are you trying to convey?
Right.
Do you think I don't have one? What's your fucking problem?
Like,
Put the candy in the fucking bag.
right. There was like a little pack toothpaste, toothbrush. Like really?
You're acting like my parents don't already have this. You're acting like you're the one who's actually saving me from teeth rot.
You are the problem with this world. This is what we're gonna turn into, and look what happened. But oh gosh, well,
You could have just given me the money that you spent for this toothbrush and everything else if you decided to add it.
yeah. Oh, they were
Waited.
probably dentists, and they got that toothbrushes, for free or at cost. So but
Well,
yeah,
they wasted everybody's time.
they really did. They were trying to make a point, and those people are going to a special place. Let's just
Nobody
say that.
wants to make a point. people want candy
Right.
and they want to get scared.
Right. So what was always cool about us, going around the neighborhood is they always had like these haunted houses and stuff. And we would always like to go through those as we were doing the Halloween. And I just wanted to make a point of saying that because it was always fun how much some of the people in the neighborhoods would actually go out for Halloween, and just so good. But if I was to sit there and talk about my favorite candies and whatnot, I could be here a while. I mean, I'm not a small man. And I do have a love for some candy. I can only take so much of it. But like Arson, I have a lot of love for like different candy bars, Snickers. Three Musketeers was one of my favorites growing up. I loved to get Three Musketeers. I would trade for those Reese cups. To get a whole Reese cup instead of like the little minis were like
That was
That was
legendary. It was a legendary moment when you got like a king-sized one.
Yes. Like, oh my gosh, like the things that you could, so amazing. But I had to say one of my favorite times for candy, which it was specifically out for Halloween for years, up until a few years ago, and then they started releasing it. And it's through Tootsie. I always loved Tootsie Rolls. I would always love to get the fruit Tootsie Rolls. Like those are one of my favorite things to get. And not so much the vanilla ones, because the vanilla came out like the blue one.
They're nasty.
But the fruit punch ones and stuff like that were so amazing. Like the lime, like I love those, like all of them. Some of my favorite candy, and I wasn't even thinking about that for a second until I just now. And Tootsie came out with this product, and it's a caramel apple pop, and basically it's a sour apple sucker drizzled with caramel or caramel, whatever you want to say. Either way's right. Caramel is good either way. And these suckers would last forever because of how hard that caramel would sit on that sucker. And I love those things. Like they're like my all-time favorite Halloween candy. Now, to side with Zhombi on something, Mary Janes are nasty. I love peanut butter stuff, but when you make those, whoever created those, this was a time of probably the Depression when they made those. They're like, hey, let's just keep on doing it. They need to be slapped for continuing to make those, and they still make them to this day. And they come in orange and black packages, like little twisted up pieces of candy, and they're Mary Janes. And yeah, those are horrible. And sometimes as a kid, I'd still eat them because it was candy. But and also to help Arson with his opinion, I do like candy corn, but I can only handle so much of it because I can't sit there and eat a whole bag of candy corn. I like, and the pumpkin candy corn sucks. It has to be the actual pieces of candy corn.
Oh yeah, I am a purist when it comes to candy corn.
Yes. Okay, let me ask you this. Have you ever built up the candy corn to make it look like a corn cob?
No.
You should do it at least once. It's fun. I don't know why, but it is. But yeah, you can actually do that. It's pretty neat. But I cannot stand too much candy corn, but I do like it. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely not my least favorite. So yeah, that's my candy choices and my non-candy choices. And I've got one story I want to leave you guys with, and we can start to wrap this up and maybe continue to tease what we're just teasing right now. What we're going to get into down the road. I don't know who's going to be a part of it yet. I know it's going to be Arson and myself, at least. So that story is when I was, you talk about growing up and being the one to serve candy, right? Well, me and a friend of mine, it's Lone Marine, actually. You guys know who that is, right? Yeah. So Lone Marine and I, when we were adults, we decided to stay at his house and serve candy. we both bought a bunch of candy. And when I say bought a bunch of candy, we bought a bunch of candy. Like, kids were coming by, and he lived in the heart of the town. The small town that I would go around in as a kid before I'd hit up the big cities. And we literally had so much candy there. And these kids would come through and like pick like a piece and be like, no, take a handful. Like we were those guys, we were going to make somebody's Halloween. My niece came by and we just like filled half of her sack with candy, like stuff like that, but that was special circumstances, like with her or cousins of his or whatnot. But anybody else that'd come in and be like, here, take a handful of candy. Not take a piece. Are you nuts? Take a handful. And that's what we did all night. And we still had candy left over. Like after that, we had so much candy, and it's just the fun part of it. I really had, that was one of the best times ever that I had, around Christmas. You see what you started, Zombie? I can't blame you. For Halloween. We'd sit there and we were playing while we were in rotation. We'd be playing Madden on my PS3, and we just go around and give out a crap load of candy to all the kids, and no apples in sight, no toothbrushes in sight. Those guys can go F themselves. People that decide to give that stuff out. There could be a razor blade in that apple. I'm just saying. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but that being said, that was one of my favorite times of all time giving out candy. Because I haven't really done it like that before or since. And it was just a really nice time to give and whatnot. So, but yeah, that absolutely by far favorite Halloween to give out candy. But yeah, so that being said, this has been a lot of fun, guys. You guys got any closing statements before we head out?
Nope.
I'm in pain.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why?
I think that's been stated already.
I know. All
Because
right,
he needs
so
candy corn.
he needs candy corn. He just got a transplant. He got all his teeth pulled, and they were replaced with candy corn. So it's gonna take a while for those to set in, and that's why he's in pain.
I have to replace them every hour.
Which sucks because you hate candy corn and the texture. No. Well, that being said, guys, let me just tell you, here in the near future, and we're ironically enough, I think we're gonna do this probably around the holiday season of Christmas, possibly. I don't know. We got other plans too, but we are going to be doing some more podcast shorts. And we got some before. And if you guys don't know what that is, let me just explain. Right now, going on, just released our 4th episode of our Dead by Daylight tier list of our killers. And we go through and we put all of our killers, and then that we put our favorites, but we do it like objectively, I guess. I mean, we try to do it as honest as possible. And to our best knowledge. So we're gonna take that, at least Arson and myself, and we're gonna tie that into Halloween candy tier list. So we're gonna do some shorts on Halloween candy tier lists, and I don't know if it's gonna be any more than just Arson and I, but it may be a third, depending on who would like to do it with us. So that being said, look for that. Also, we've got in the works doing some more shorts. I think it's going to be more of a regular thing now. It's going to be our 2nd episode for those people that just can't get enough of From the Ashes, And I appreciate each and every one
And
of
you
you.
return to the ash pit.
Call those our ash heads. No, I have
Ash.
no idea. Ashholes.
That's about the ashholes.
The ashholes. Oh, we just birthed something right there. That's awesome. Anyways, so we're also thinking about doing a tier list along the lines of something with Star Trek. That's still in the works. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to thank Zhombi and I want to thank Arson for being here. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you all. Such a good podcast today. I really enjoyed it. Just a lot of memories, and I've got so many more that we could talk about. But yeah, that's it for us. If you are interested in knowing more about From the Ashes podcast, if you want to become an ashhole, oh my gosh, that's such a thing. I can't believe I just that's awesome.
That needs to be a thing now.
That has to be a thing. We're surrounded by ashholes. But if you do want to be an ashhole, and something tells me you do, we have a link in our description below to our all our From the Ashes needs, everything on our social media and whatnot. Leave a comment. Tell us your favorite candy. Tell us a memorable moment or a favorite Halloween costume. Yeah, let us know. And again, we'll be back next week with some more From the Ashes content. I want to thank you guys again. I hope you have a wonderful and spooky week. You guys got nothing to end the show with? Nothing?
I don't want to actively kill myself, so I mean,